Hello, everyone. Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It's Tuesday. I hope the week is starting well wherever you're watching or listening to this around the world. It's just been 2 days now since the Euros has finished, and already it feels just a little bit like things are beginning to heat up when it comes to club football. We've seen pictures, of course, of Arsenal returning to official pre-season training at London Colney yesterday. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Got quite a bit of transfer stuff to talk about, including Arsenal's interest in Mikel Merino. Real Sociedad, Spanish Euro 2024 winner. Of course, we'll talk about Emile Smith Rowe as bids start to arrive for him, or certainly one bid has come in for him. So we'll talk about that as well. Got lots of questions and comments on a wide range of topics from you guys as well. Just first of all, actually, before we get stuck into this, just a note, remember the old shirt competition that I ran a while back? Little update to all of you who won, and the 10 of you know who you are, who won the shirts. They have now been posted. I annoyed everyone in the post office yesterday sending those 10 shirts. Honestly, you should have seen the size of the queue that was behind me by the time it was all finally sorted and all the customs declarations were sorted, because I was sending, some of these all around the world. But they are now in the post. So at some point, they should start arriving at your door. So keep your eyes peeled for them. And I hope you enjoy them when they do arrive. Right, let's start talking about Mikel Merino, shall we? Who Arsenal are interested in signing this summer. Now, as far as I'm aware, no actual bid has been made yet for Merino. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I'm just saying right now, as far as I'm aware, no bid has gone in. Arsenal are interested in him. They are admirers of him. That interest dates back before the Euros. So this wasn't, again, something that a player they saw at the Euros and decided, he looks quite good. Let's move for him. So that the interest was there before the Euros. Obviously, his performances at Euros coming off the bench for Spain have put him in the shop window even more. Scored that huge goal, of course, to beat Germany in the last minute of extra time in the quarterfinals or the round of 16, whichever game that was, that's thrust him into the attention even more. He's gettable, or certainly by the sounds of it, he is gettable this summer. Not going to be too expensive either. He's only got a year left on his contract, and it sounds like Sociedad would be willing to let him go rather than lose him on a free the following year. I've seen talk of around sort of £20 million. Now, I can't confirm that's, of course, what Sociedad would want for him, but that's the fee that I've seen bandied around. Now, it depends if Arsenal actually firm up this interest or not. As I said at the start, I've not heard that they have done that yet. He's just a player that they like and have been looking at. I mean, he ticks a lot of the boxes. He is a little bit older than your classic Arsenal profile when it comes to signings, but they've shown with Trossard, with Jorginho, that they are happy to sign players a little bit above their typical age range. I think the average age is about 24 of the players that Arsenal signed under Edu and Mikel Arteta. But they've shown, as I said, with Jorginho and Trossard, that they will go beyond that. If they think the player can come in, he can play as a 6, he can play as an 8, left-sided, very comfortable on the ball, with a bit of a sort of classic box-to-box type player. Obviously had a little stint in England with Newcastle a long, long time ago before heading back to Spain. Arteta knows him very, very well. Obviously, he's plays for Sociedad, a club that Arteta is very well versed in. Kieran Tierney was there last season, of course. Another Arsenal target or a player that they like in midfield. Zubimendi plays for them as well. So we'll wait and see if they firm up this offer. But there is definite interest there for Arsenal regarding Mikel Merino. So let me know your thoughts on it. Would this be a good signing or not? I can't say I've seen loads of him, I have to say, but from what I've seen, he definitely looks like a sort of player who could come in and make a bit of a difference for Arsenal, strengthen the squad. So let me know your thoughts on it below. Would this be one that you're happy with, or do you think Arsenal need to go and look elsewhere when it comes to the midfield? Let me know in the comments below. Right, let's talk about Emile Smith Rowe. Why not? I mean, I love talking about Emile Smith Rowe, as you all are very keen to remind me whenever I discuss him in a show. But things are starting to happen with Emile. I've long said that I believe this is the summer that Emile will end up leaving Arsenal. And now a bid has come in. It's been rejected, but Fulham have made their opening offer for Emile Smith Rowe. He's a player we know that they've been looking at, that they like. They've obviously got some money burning a hole in their pocket now with the sale of Paulinho to Bayern Munich recently. And they have now opened their bidding for Smith Rowe. Arsenal rejected that bid. There is talk about Crystal Palace having made a bid as well. I can't confirm that. I don't know on that one. It's not one that I've heard and had confirmed to me, but I know for a fact that Fulham have definitely had a bid rejected. I expect them to go back in with another offer. I can't imagine they're just going to walk away after this opening bid. I'm sure they probably expected Arsenal to knock back the opening bid. Smith Rowe's back with the squad now. He's training. He was obviously in Marbella. And he was back at London Colney yesterday with the rest of the squad, and he'll continue to work hard with Arsenal. But we all know with Smith Rowe's situation going into this summer, Arsenal last summer made it very, very clear they weren't going to let him go. That same message has not been made clear to Smith Rowe and to his camp so far this summer. The expectation is that if a good bid comes in that Arsenal deem acceptable, then he will be allowed to go this time around. And we know that Smith Rowe is just really desperate now to kick on in his career and get some game time. Ideally, he would love to stay at Arsenal. I know that for a fact. He would love to stay at Arsenal and get the game time he needs to really progress in his career. But I think it's been pretty obvious in the last year or so when he's been largely fit that he's just not going to get the game time he really craves right now. And so it's probably best for all parties if he moves on and gets the game time that he needs elsewhere at a good club. I think Fulham would be a really good move for him. I like the manager. He doesn't have to move too far. He's a London boy, so that'd be appealing for him. He knows people there. Alex Iwobi as well. Whenever Smith Rowe Iwobi link up down the road at Craven Cottage. So there's a lot of reasons for this to be a good move, but they need to pay up. Arsenal can't be giving away Emile Smith Rowe. He's a really talented footballer. He's still got 2 years left on his contract. He's still very, very young. And they can't be just giving away. I mean, look at Chelsea at the moment with Conor Gallagher. 40 to 50 million pounds they're looking for Conor Gallagher. He's only got a year left on his contract. Why would Arsenal be wanting 25 million for Emile Smith Rowe? They've got to get a decent money in for him, in my view, and hopefully they will do that if, and it pains me to say it, he does leave this summer. So yeah, it's one to keep an eye on. It'll be interesting to see how quickly this progresses now between Fulham, Smith Rowe, Arsenal, and potentially clubs like Crystal Palace as well, who are expected to make a bid. But as I said, from what I've heard, that bid hasn't arrived from them yet. Anyway, outgoings now confirmed in terms of Nuno and Sambi. We were just waiting for the confirmation. They both came yesterday. So Sambi's gone over to Sevilla. No obligation to buy in that deal. There is an option to make it permanent for 12 million. Arsenal would get a 25% sell-on clause on him as well, but it is just an option. Which is an interesting one because I think from what I understand, Arsenal are very much of the belief that Sambi could go and have a really, really good spell with Sevilla and really sort of make a bigger market for him for this time next year. Obviously, the clause to buy is around sort of 12 million euros for Sevilla. But Arsenal feel like if he has a really good year, then they might make a bit of even more of a market for him next year, and they could get bids in excess of that from other clubs as well. With Nuno, I think they were quite happy to have the obligation to buy put in there. That has been put in there. It will be met. There's a few sort of things that have to be sort of triggered for it to be met, but everyone expects that those sort of playing sort of performance things will be met, and he will move for about 7 million. And I understand that the sell-on clause that they have for Nuno, which was sort of initially reported as around 22%, I think is significantly higher than 25%. I don't know the final number, but it is higher than the 25% sell-on clause for Nuno. And they basically get their money back on Nuno as well. So, and they're both, for the players, I think they're good moves as well. For everyone, I think it's decent moves. I think Sevilla get a good player in Lokonga. Lazio get a really talented player, I think, in Nuno Tavares, who you obviously need to spend time working on. But he's a talented player with really good attributes. They get a decent enough player at a decent enough price. Arsenal get money in for both of them. And I think also they go into good clubs as well, which says a lot about the sort of standard of the players as well. So all in all, I think for all parties, it's probably pretty good deals. And good luck to the pair of them in the coming season. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see some pictures there from first day of official pre-season at London Colney. Got Thomas Partey there looking very lean and healthy. You got Martin Odegaard walking into Colney for the first time. You got Jurgen Timber and Mikel Arteta on the training ground. Lots of other pictures there as well. Tommy Asu was there. Jesus was there. All the players who are over in Marbella were there. So you get Eddie Nketiah's, Reece Nelson, Emile Smith Rowe, Ben White, for example. So really good at this. Is the first group who are coming back in terms of the pre-season plans now. My understanding of it, we've got this group who come back now. We're going to have the players who were involved internationally but went out in like the group stages of the competitions. So I'm thinking Zinchenko for Ukraine, those players, they're going to come back at the end of this week. Arsenal fly out on Sunday, I think, to the US. So the players who went out in the early stages of the international tournaments, like Zinchenko, they'll be back at the end of this week. So they will be with the group to fly out to the United States. Then players who went to sort of, I think it was the quarterfinals and semi-final stages of the tournament. So your I was going to say Granit Xhaka there. Your Gabriel Martinelli, your Gabriel Magalhaes of Brazil, Saliba, those sort of players. Trossard, I think they're going to link up with the squad in America. So they might miss one or two of the games, but they will be there for the third game, I believe. So if you're an Arsenal fan in America, you will get a chance to see some of the, pretty much the whole squad at some point during the tournament. So they're going to fly out and link up with the squad halfway through the tour. And then the final players, Raya, Ramsdale, Rice, and Saka, they're going to come back after the US tour in that final period before the start of the new season, so for the Emirates Cup game. So that's how the four groups are going to be staggered during pre-season, but it's great to see them back there. And only a few days now before they fly out to the US tour. So that is very, very exciting indeed. Right, let's move on to some of your questions and comments now, shall we? We've got here one from Sam. He says, "Hi, Charles. Interested to get your thoughts regarding the left-back situation for next season. Seems we are likely to acquire Calafiori this summer and move on Zinni or Kivior as a result. Assuming a fully fit squad, do you foresee Timber or Calafiori as a starting left-back, or will it be a game state situation?" Yeah, well, we have to wait and see if Calafiori signs. Obviously, Arsenal are trying to get that deal done, but it's not done yet. There's no agreement yet with Bologna for that. But if they do manage to get that deal over the line, I would imagine, and obviously I haven't been told this, so this is kind of me just going on a bit of a hunch, but I would imagine that Timber would still probably start the season as the starting left back, or Tomiyasu would start as the starting left back, and Calafiori would be eased in. He's going to have to acclimatise, get used to a new country, a new way of playing. It always takes players a long time to get used to what Mikel Arteta wants from them. It's very rare. You do see it sometimes, but it's very rare that players come in and just hit the ground running like that when it comes to a Mikel Arteta team. So I can't imagine if Arsenal do get a deal done for Calafiori in the next few weeks that he would start that opening game. I think it would probably be someone like Timber or Tomiyasu. But like you said, as the season progresses, I think it'll be a game state situation. And it will also be down to the players and their performances. And if someone proves undroppable, then they will keep the shirt. And it might be Calafiori, but it might not. But I think the key thing is what you're doing with the signings of players like Calafiori, if they come in, or Merino as well, is you're just raising the level of the squad. And that's what Arsenal need to do right now. And I think that's what absolutely they are trying to do with their business in this summer window. Connor says, "Hey, Charles, big fan of your content and the videos with JB and TNAT. Thank you very much. I was wondering what the plan is with Sago Jr. this year. The loan didn't seem to work out, and I saw recently he'd started as left back in the under-21s friendly. I think he'll go out on loan again this season, this summer. Sorry, it might not be till towards the end of the summer. I think most loan deals you see struck do tend to happen towards the end of the window when clubs in the lower leagues are looking around at who is potentially available. But he didn't have the greatest of loans at Swansea last season, obviously. But I think once a player goes out and gets a taste of loan football, then it's very rare that they suddenly come back and just stop settling back down into under-21s football again. So I'd imagine he will go out on loan at some point during the summer window. Here's one from MHE87. Condolences, Charles, on England's loss. Thank you very much. Curious, as an England and Arsenal fan, would you have rather Jude not scored that last second goal and just been knocked out by Slovakia? Save you from the pain once again of coming so close, but not all the way. Also, if no trophy, then get Rice and Saka back early. No, I would have always wanted Jude to have scored that goal. And it was a really special moment scoring that goal. If he hadn't scored that, we wouldn't have had the Switzerland game. Saka wouldn't have had his brilliant sort of full circle moment of scoring that goal, having the celebrations he did, then scoring in the penalty shootout, and just seeing the sort of weight of what happened a few years earlier lift off his shoulders, and that smile So no, 100%. Look, I'd much rather get to a final anyway than go out. So I get what you're saying. 100% as an Arsenal fan, obviously there are some benefits to England having gone out earlier in the tournament than they did. But no, I wouldn't have changed that Judah overhead kick for anything, to be honest. Jackson now says, hi, Charles. Tommy here. Oh, sorry, Tommy says, just wondering, as Ryan and Ramsdale both made it to the finals of the Euros, so if I assume they'll not take part in the pre-season preparations, does that also mean they would most likely miss the start of the EPL season? I would assume as an outfield player, pre-season is crucial. Could we say the same for goalkeepers, though? No, they'll be back for the start of the season. As I said, they're going to come back at the end of the tour. I wouldn't be surprised if they play. Well, I think they will play. Or one of them will play in at least one of the Emirates Cup games. If not Leverkusen, then the Lyon game on the Sunday. Then they've got a full week for the next game. And I do feel like pre-season is obviously important for every single player, but maybe, just maybe, slightly less so for a goalkeeper, especially a goalkeeper who's already been at the club for a year, knows exactly how everything goes and how the team plays. So yeah, no, they're not going to go. Arsenal won't go into the season without either Ramsdale or Raya in goal. Obviously, barring any injuries, it will be Raya. But so yeah, they'll miss some of pre-season, but they're not going to miss the start of the Premier League season. Aaron now says, hey, Charles, do you see the possibility of Ethan Nwaneri and possibly Lewis Skelly being included in the pre-season tour to the US? Obviously, many people are expecting Nwaneri to be included more in the first team this season, but we saw many hypes around youth previously, especially with Patino, who never made it to the US tour, or the other youth as well. Moreover, if Nwaneri does get included more often with the first team, will he be deployed as an 8 or as a backup to Saka? My personal opinion is if we fail to sign either a winger or a number 8, Nwaneri will get a shot at least if he has been promised a clear pathway into the first team. You can never expect anything when it comes to Arteta. I absolutely expect Nwaneri to go on the tour. I think your example of Patino there is a good one, because back then I was fully expecting him to go on that tour as well. I think he was definitely expecting to go as well, and he was very disappointed that he didn't get the call just before the tour. But I think Nwaneri 100% will go. This is a different, obviously there's some players who are going to be missing, some players will be joining in late, and I'd be very, very surprised if Ethan, and like you say, possibly Lewis Skelly, doesn't go on that tour. This is certainly going to be a season I would expect that we're going to see Ethan drip fed into the first team picture a little bit more. I'm not expecting him to start loads of games, but I think he'll get a fair bit of game time. It's definitely the time to start easing him in to the squad, more so than we've seen so far. And I think he's got a really good chance of getting proper minutes on the US tour as well, and making a bit of an impact. And if he can do that, then he can make it very, very hard for Arteta to then not leave him out when I say the starting 11, but not to give him more and more minutes as we go forward, because he's clearly ready to start making some sort of an impact in the first team now. Right, that's it from me, everyone. Thank you very much for your time. As always, sorry if I'm croaking my way through this. My voice is still a little bit off following the final on Sunday, but it's getting there, and hopefully it'll be fine by tomorrow. So thanks for watching, everyone. Anything you've heard or disagreed with, agreed with, you want to comment on, you know what to do. Get into the comments and do that. I'll pull some of them together and discuss some of them into the show tomorrow. And like I said at the start, if you're one of the shirt winners, the 10 lucky shirt winners, they are now on their way to you. So keep your eye out for the postman when they do arrive. But of course, the ones going overseas, like South Korea, South Africa, America, obviously going to take a little bit later to arrive than the ones that have gone out to you in the UK who won one of the shirts as well. Right, have a good one, everyone. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.